In addition to sitting on the boards of family centers in Greenwich, chair of the Associated Board of Directors, the Family Center and Children's Organization or Agency in Norwalk, and the Peter Wojtecki Veteran Housing Foundation in New Canaan. She also volunteers at both family centers and Family and Children's Agency, as well as person-to-person in Darien. She also blogs regularly for the Darien Patch, sharing her insights on volunteering. She's like the gift that keeps on giving. Miss Reese has a wide range of experience in communications and media. Before joining Volunteer Square, Reese worked as a director of community relations at the YMCA of Greenwich, where she managed all marketing, web and print communications, and overhauled the institution's public relations strategy. Prior to her work with the Greenwich Y, Miss Reese worked in Hartford for the Connecticut State Legislature as a press secretary for 3 senators in the Senate Republican caucus. She's also a 2-time Emmy-nominated television news producer with years of experience at News 12 Connecticut. She received her degree in communications from Fairfield University. To welcome Miss Reese to Lauralton Hall, we would like to present her with a token of our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to welcome Miss Rachel Reese.
My goodness, thank you for that beautiful introduction. Good morning. It is wonderful to be back here at Lauralton this morning. It's, driving up, I had a little bit of a temptation to take the train and walk, but the shoes are a little different this time around, so we held off. I'd like to thank all the school administrators, the Macaulay Parents Association, and everyone who put this morning together. It's really great to be back on campus. It's a really special time to spend with our dads, and I would like to take a moment to thank my dad, Jim, who is right there at the front table. The hard work of my parents and their unwavering commitment to private education made my 4 years at Lauralton possible, and frankly, you made everything else in my life possible, so thank you. And I think we should all give our dads a big round of applause right now for everything they do. So gosh, the last time I was in front of a crowd in this auditorium, it was 1997, and I was sitting at a big piano, fumbling my way through a very, very bad version of Billy Joel's Piano Man for my freshman music concert. And hopefully this morning will go a little bit more smoothly. I won't do that again. So since being invited to come back and speak with you today, I've had some fun doing a lot of reflecting on my 4 years here. And one of the best things about Lauralton is that once you come back, it could be years later, it could be a month later after graduation, you really feel like you're still a member of this community, you're still part of the family. And every time I turn into campus from High Street, I'm flooded with good memories of a lot of beautiful friendships, great teachers and staff and volunteers, beautiful classroom experiences, and a lot of the incredible opportunities that I have when I was here at Lauralton. And looking back since graduation, and certainly listening to my bio that Shannon just read, life has taken a little bit of a windy road. I've done a lot of different things since leaving Lauralton, and this morning I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to, a little bit more in detail about what I've been doing, and leave you hopefully with 3 pieces of advice that have helped me personally and professionally since leaving. So when I started at Lauralton, again, as I said, it was 1997. The Spice Girls were the big new thing, and everyone had it in their Discman, so that's like a prehistoric iPod. I don't know if you guys know about that, but there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, nobody really had a cell phone. We were barely using the internet, believe it or not, but some things were the same. We took the train, we went to mixers and football games at prep. The uniforms were pretty much the same, and we all stopped at 7-Eleven or Wanda's, which I think is closed now, to get our sugar fix before the train ride home. And the catacombs definitely creeped us all out, just like I'm sure they did for you. I came from a pretty small school in Fairfield, St. Thomas. Any St. Thomas girls here today? Hello? So there were 8 girls in my graduating class, and 4 of us came to Lauralton, and the other 4 went to Notre Dame in Fairfield. So coming to a school of all girls from all over Fairfield County and beyond was definitely a little bit of an adjustment, but again, never once did I feel like a fish out of water, and that had a lot to do with the wonderful environment that Lauralton provided for us. It became really a second home for me, and as I said, coming back feels just the same as it did my freshman year. So After graduating from Lauralton, I went to Fairfield University, studying communications and all the politics that I could fit into my schedule. With the help of my freshman year journalism professor, I landed an internship at News 12 Connecticut in Norwalk. Are you all familiar with that, I'm sure? I worked weekends, overnight graveyard shifts, early mornings, late nights, pretty much anything I could get my hands on to get some time in the newsroom. It was crazy, but it was wonderful. And after something of a rocky start in news, things got a little bit easier and it turned into a full-time job. Producing right after college graduation, where I had my own nightly newscast and was able to produce a business program and a political talk show as well. So this brings me to my first piece of advice that I really wanted to share with you ladies this morning, and that is figure out what you're passionate about and nurture that. News 12 really was the first time after Lauralton that I had the opportunity to explore my passion for politics and news and journalism and history, because they allowed me to produce human interest stories and investigative pieces that I really cared about. That took me to the White House to interview the First Lady's Chief of Staff, to speak with world-renowned forensic scientist Dr. Henry Lee, and one-on-one interviews with Connecticut's church leaders about the Da Vinci Code controversy. So news exposed me to so many different topics and realities, and it enabled me to find out what moved me. But the pieces I loved more than that were the pieces that I got to produce that focused on the good in people, and people doing incredible things against unbelievable odds, and those about kindness in some unexpected places. And that's sort of what got me to where I am today at Volunteer Square. So what you're looking at behind me on the screen, volunteersquare.com, is my current job, and it's an absolute labor of love. As Shannon said in my intro, we're a Fairfield County-based nonprofit, and it's our mission to help make it easy for people to find ways to volunteer and connect with nonprofits in our area. So we work with about 125 nonprofits, and the way we do this is through automated e-alerts. We've been compared to kind of online dating, but for volunteering. So really you just go to our site, tell us what you're interested in, and then the site tries to send you emails with local opportunities that matter to you. So again, just making it easier for you to find something that you care about. We also run around the state and advocate for the nonprofits that we work with. There are a lot of them, hundreds of them right here in Connecticut alone in our small state, because the need is so great in our state. So we work with arts and humanities organizations to homelessness and housing, domestic violence, hunger, and more each week actually. So why do I do this? Why did I choose to do this as a job? Well, part of the reason is that 5 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at that time, I was working for the legislature in Hartford as a press secretary. And when she was diagnosed, I think as a family, our priorities really shifted, and we started to reevaluate what was important to us and what we wanted our own lives to be about. And also, our family was on the receiving end of an incredible amount of generosity and kindness and compassion from our neighbors, from people we didn't even know, from people who just saw my dad and I freaking out in the hospital because we didn't know what was going on. And around that time, I happened to meet the man who had the idea for this website, a really simple thing, a really simple way to get people volunteering. And when he offered me a job to work and build this organization from the ground up, it was a no-brainer. It was an easy decision to make, to take this opportunity to help people give back, but also to pay forward a little bit of the kindness that I'd received and my family had received as well. So make no mistake, there was no roadmap for what we're doing, and there still isn't. Frankly, I'm kind of figuring it out day by day as we grow and expand and figure out what works. But I was passionate about it, and I think that is, if you can bring that into what you do and what you choose to pursue as your career, I think you really can't go wrong. And that passion is, as I said, what gets me through the scary times and figuring out how we're going to raise money and how we're going to expand and how we're going to stay relevant. And right now, one of the most important things that you ladies can do is figure out what it is that moves you and what inspires you. You have an incredible window of opportunity right now to spend some time with yourself and to experience things and develop your passions and interests in a way that you won't ever again. You have a completely blank canvas, and take this time to go to lectures, make a lot of friends, be friends with a lot of different people, read books, read a lot of books, read the newspaper, travel, volunteer, try to do as much as you possibly can now because life gets crazier once you get into college and leave Lauralton, I promise you. The second thing I would like to leave you ladies with is use your network. It's really important. I'm sure you've all heard this before. A lot of it can be who you know to help you move through the world, but it's really true. This is your network from Lauralton and your network with your families and your neighbors, your church, the things that you're involved with. They can really help you, and they can help you explore what you're passionate about and what you're good at. When I decided to leave news and work in politics, I used the relationships that I had built and the trust that I had built with people to do that and to experience more of what made me happy and more of what I was passionate about. A lot of times you'll hear that it's, your network and your connections will get you in the door, but I like to think that that's great, but it's what you do once you're in the door that really makes the difference. And don't be afraid to use those relationships that you're building now. It's really important. And finally, the last thing I'd like to say, I think is the most important to me anyway, make kindness your calling card. Who here uses Pinterest? Guilty. If you're not familiar with it, it's an amazing time waster. If you're looking for recipes or outfits or something like that, you can lose hours in the blink of an eye. Aside from the clothes and recipes and all that fun stuff, one of the things I love about it is all the cool quotes and little inspiration pins and things like that. And I came across one that really stuck with me recently, and I wanted to share it with you. It is, people will forget what you say, and they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. It's a great sentiment, and it's so true. When I was a freshman here, I was absolutely pretty awkward and scared, and I remember getting lost in the hall, and an upperclassman stopped me, and she must have seen that I looked like a deer in headlights and needed to help. And she asked if I was okay, and she helped me get to class. And she didn't care that she was helping a goofy freshman. She didn't care that the bell had rung and she would probably be late for class too. She just did the right thing, and she was kind, and she went out of her way to help me. And 15 years later, I still remember that. And I still remember how her simple gesture of kindness made me feel. It's a really simple thing. We live in a world where it's really, really easy to be really cynical and negative. And you girls are inundated by so much on a daily basis, more so than I ever was, thanks to social media and technology. And a lot of it can be very negative and damaging. And I want you all to ignore it and don't contribute to it. Lauralton really fosters a spirit of kindness and mercy. And today, girls, I have to tell you, those qualities are desperately needed in the workplace, in public life, in volunteering, and all sorts of things. And we need young women with depth and passion and integrity, and I'm really proud to have gone to a school that fosters those qualities, and I hope that they're qualities you take with you when you leave, and I think you can't go wrong if you do.